let's get started. A couple of items that I want you all to know. You will get a copy of the presentation. I think there's also going to be a video that comes. There's going to be a handout as well. There's an Excel spreadsheet that you'll be getting that you can actually use to help you plan your marketing. And I'm hoping to have a little bit of time at the end to, if you have any questions, I'll ask you to throw them into the chat. Now, just a little bit about me. I'm not going to go on and on. I have 30 years of corporate marketing experience for companies like Kraft Foods. I worked as a chief global marketing officer for an international clinical software company where I managed offices in New York, Boston, and London. That was great fun. And then I got out of the corporate world and bought a printing company, which I owned for 15 years. So I share that with you just so you have a feel for some of the breadth and depth of my experience and what I'm going to be talking about today. So I left the corporate world, like I said, and I bought a printing company. And I did not realize it at the time. That's a long story, but it was losing about $80,000 a year when I bought it. That was a big surprise to me. So it took me about 2 years to turn the company around, which is actually pretty good from that kind of a loss. And then I ran the company profitably for the 15 years I owned it. And 3 years ago, right before the pandemic, talk about luck, I sold the company for a very nice sum. I was a super happy camper. So, and it's all about marketing, right? This is what we're going to talk about today. What are marketing and branding? People get the two of those confused, although branding is certainly a part of marketing. How to develop your target market, super important. I'm going to give you a dozen, count them, a dozen tools to use in your marketing toolbox, right? So there's lots of options there. We're going to talk about the importance of a budget. I'm going to give you a basic and easy marketing plan to use. And basically, these are a lot of different ideas for you to think about. I don't expect you to do everything. It would be great, but nobody can do everything. But I want you to think about these different things, and I want you to take action on at least a couple of them. Pick out 2, 3 things and really focus on them, and you will see your business grow. There's no doubt about it. Now, what is marketing? The definition of marketing is the action or business of promoting and selling your products or services, right? Promoting and selling your products or services. You might have the best widget in the whole entire world. You've got the best product, the best service. But if nobody knows about it, well, that's not going to do you any good, is it, right? So you've got to get word out about your product or service, right? And the difference between marketing and sales, I consider marketing to be when you're talking to a group of people. You're marketing to a group. And sales tends to be more one-on-one. So you market your product, which leads you to hopefully sales, right? Marketing would come first, then the sales follow. Not always, but it's a good formula. It's a good format to follow. Now, if you have only one takeaway from this entire presentation, okay, it is to focus on the customer, not you, right? You want to focus on them, you want to listen to them, you want to find out what they're all about, what their needs are, and help them. It's not about doing a whole dump about yourself, right? It's about the customer, what they might want, what they need. Now, branding. Branding is defining what your business is and why it is different, okay? You brand your business. And it's not just how it looks. Sure, everybody knows the Nike swoosh, and everybody knows the Coca-Cola logo in red and the Pepsi blue. Everybody knows that, but that's only a part of it. That's just how it looks. It's just a part. The bigger part of branding is your unique sales proposition. Okay, USP, marketers talk about it all the time. What is unique about you What makes you different than your competition? Super important for you to figure that out, right? You have a business, you want to spend time looking at your competition, and you want to figure out what makes you unique and focus on it, okay? That's part of your brand. You can do market research on this. Again, you want to look at your competitors and not just copy what they're doing. You want to be different. You want to figure out what's different about you, okay? And you can talk to your friends, your family, especially talk to your best customers. They'll tell you why they do business with you, not somebody else. So if you have a good customer that you're friendly with and you feel comfortable talking to them, right? Or any of your customers, it's a great way to build a relationship with them. Ask them, why do you do business with me? What makes me different? I would encourage everybody to really spend some time thinking about your USP and write it down. It's almost like your mission in a way. In fact, your mission is part of your brand, right? Many brands are into doing social justice, to helping their community. That's part of their branding. And it's what makes them unique in a way too, although it's getting more common now. Branding must be consistent to be effective, okay? You can't keep changing up your colors. You can't keep changing your logo. Pick your color scheme, pick your look, pick your graphic design, and stick with it. Maybe once a year, once every 2 years, once every 3 years, you can shake it up a little bit, change it a little bit. But once you have it and you're set with it, don't be changing it all the time. Right? I've had customers that are with big companies, right? And they're like, oh, I don't want my logo to be red. Can you make my business cards blue instead? I'm like, no, right? Your branding has to be consistent. You should stick with the colors of your logo. And by the way, I owned a printing business, as I said, 15 years. I often, throughout the presentation, will use my printing business as an example, just because it's pretty easy to understand and pretty clear. Okay, so be consistent with your branding and don't keep changing it up all over the place. Now, let's talk about brand positioning, also a part of your brand, right? There are 3 elements to your brand positioning, just 3, no more. Now, you can have 2, you can focus on 2 of these or 1 of these, but you cannot do all 3. If you try to do all 3 of these elements, right, you'll go out of business because you can't give everybody everything. So let's talk about these 3 elements. And I encourage you, while you're thinking about your USPs, your unique sales proposition, to figure out which 1 or 2 of these you want to focus on, okay? So just for some examples, number 1, first element would be quality. Now, of course, it's assumed you're going to deliver a product that works. That's just assumed. But we're talking about higher quality, exceptional quality, right? Best quality. So some examples of that might be Mercedes, right? It's a top of the line car. Apple's brand is all about quality, intuitiveness, easy to use. It won't break, right? Another one might be Dell computers. Notice I have a question mark there. Dell computers used to be all about quality, but now I don't know. Is it better than HP? I don't know. Is it better than Lenovo? I don't know. So I would say that Dell has a little bit of work to do on their branding if they're going to focus on their quality. Number 2 would be price. One example of a price-focused brand would be Hyundai, right? Not a bad car, a really good car. In fact, they're getting excellent now. They're getting great reviews. I'm sorry, I really like cars. Okay, but it's going to be a less expensive car than your Mercedes, your BMW, or any of those other cars. It's a more affordable car, not a cheap car, but a more affordable car. Another company that focuses on price, I'm here in the East Coast. I'm not sure you have them there, but Marshall's is a chain store that has lots of different brands at much lower prices than you would get if you bought them in the regular store. I think somebody has to mute themselves, please. So you can go into a Marshall's and get cut rate brands, famous brands, but they'll be less expensive. They're focused on price. For those of you who know about printing, Vistaprint is an online company. and you can get very inexpensive printing there. Their focus is price. It's going to be less expensive. However, they're an online company. You're going to order your business cards through the mail, and when they show up, they may not be the color you expected. They may not be cut properly. They may not be the paper quality you wanted. Now what? But they're the least expensive option out there, right? But you're not going to get the quality. Number 3, the third element in brand positioning is service, right? Exceptional and outstanding service. Ritz-Carlton is a fancy hotel chain, right? You're going to get little chocolates on your pillow at night, right? Everything's all included. It's super fancy, right? All about service, but it's not going to be cheap. You're going to pay for that service. Mercedes, you know, Mercedes, BMW, all those luxury cars, they're going to give you exceptional service. When you go to have your oil changed in your car, right? They're going to have a nice showroom. They're going to have coffee. They're going to have all kinds of donuts. It's going to be a much nicer service experience, right? But you're going to pay for it. And one that I really like, this is such an interesting brand model, is Amazon. Amazon really doesn't own any products, right? They certainly aren't necessarily the best quality. A lot of the products you buy on Amazon are knockoff products, right? But it's all about service. You're going to get it the next day. I ordered something from Amazon the other day, and it wasn't coming for like 4 days. And I was like, whoa, what's up with that, right? All about the service. Their entire business is built on service and easy returns, right? The whole thing, it's all about the service, not the price, right? And not the quality. It's about the service. Okay? So think about, when you're thinking about your own business, what you want it to be. Where are you focusing your business? So as a printer, I was all about quality and service. I did not discount my prices on an ongoing way, right? You had to pay for top-notch service. You had to pay because you were going to get your printing tomorrow. You had to pay because we fixed your files for you, right? There was all included in the high quality, but you had to pay for it and the exceptional service. However, every now and then I get a customer who, you know, who would say, that's a little too pricey for me. Did I discount them? Yeah, if they were a good customer, I'd give them a discount. Absolutely, right? Mercedes has times of the year they put their cars on sale, and you can get, you know, all kinds of offers from them. But you want to pick one of these elements and try and stay in that lane. Now, let's talk about target market. Target market and USPs are super important. You need to think about them, what makes you unique, and who you're targeting. Who is your market, right? When I first bought my printing company, I thought, ooh, every business has business cards. So therefore, every business is my market. Boy, was I wrong. I was spending a lot of wasted time going after businesses that they didn't have the money. They spent a ton of time talking about their design. They were priced, and they were just, you know, not my target market. Okay, so figure out who your target market is. Not everyone is going to be your customer. And that's okay. It's actually good. Be specific. It is much easier to focus on your specific market than to waste your time, energy, and funds, you know, throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping something sticks. Think about it. Who do you want to go after? Who is most likely to buy your product? Not who do you want for your target market, but who is going to buy your product. Again, thinking about them, not you. All right, I get lots of clients who come to me and say, oh, well, this is the customer I want. Yeah, but maybe they're not going to buy your product. Maybe they can't afford it. Maybe they don't know they need it. There's a million reasons why. Figure out who's most likely to buy your product. Some market research is helpful here. Talk to different people. Talk to prospective customers. Talk to existing customers. Talk to friends, right? What do your customers want? That's critical. Now, you can develop groups of target markets, and eventually you can expand. But I would say in the beginning, your messaging should be tailored to a very specific target market. Focus on that and then grow outward. Now, tools in the marketing toolbox. We're going to talk about lots of them. I've got a dozen tools coming your way. The point is, you're not going to do them all. Right? Don't even think about doing them all. What I would ask is for you to pick 2 or 3 of them and stick to it. Try them, okay? Give them a good try. But over a period of time, not once, but over a period of time, if they're not working, move on and try another tool in the toolbox, okay? Analyze the results, figure out if they're working or not. There's lots of different ways to do that. The easiest one is just a spike in sales, okay? And if you don't know how to do it, I really would recommend getting some professional help. In the amount of time it's going to take you to figure it out and get it right and spend money on whatever it is, if you hire somebody, get some quotes. You can oftentimes find people who will do things for less expensive, at least to kick off, and you can learn as you go with them. So if you don't know how to do something, try to get professional help if you can afford it. Nothing wrong with that. Now, to outline the tools in the marketing toolbox that we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about website. We're going to talk about social media, email, blogs. We're going to talk about direct mail. We're going to talk about public relations, telemarketing, cold calling, advertising, trade shows and events, guerrilla marketing, that's a fun one, and networking, which is in bold because it's my favorite and it's the easiest and it can be very effective. But before we get into the tools, I want to give you some general information that you'll need in doing your marketing. The first thing that happens in marketing is going to be copy. You need to write down, right, what your product is all about, what your service is all about. Right? You're going to need it in your website. You're going to need it to put on flyers. You're going to need it for your elevator pitch, right? You need to be able to write some good copy. So here's what I say about that. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Don't get all complicated using super big words and all that stuff. Just keep it simple. Less can be more. It doesn't have to go on and on and on. Okay? Less can be more. When I look at a flyer, somebody hands me a brochure, and there's tons of copy, teeny tiny copy, I'm not even going to read it, right? Less can be more. Keep it simple. It should be benefit driven. Don't give a whole bunch of paragraphs all about you and what you do and how great you are and your product and it's red and it's big and it's small. It should be benefit driven, right? Benefits right up front. So my widget is red is a feature, not a benefit. My widget makes you go faster, be smarter, lose weight, whatever it is. Those are the benefits. What are the benefits? Gives you more time, saves you money. Those are benefits, okay? So talk about benefits, not just features. And talk like your audience talks, right? When I was the director of the clinical software company, I spoke with medical and scientific professionals. And I certainly used different language than I did when I was in the coffee company at Kraft Foods, right? I was in the coffee division, right? So speak as your audience speaks. Don't use words they don't understand. Don't get technical. Speak like they speak. Keep it simple. And here's one that I love, the typo police. Find and use your typo police. You can't proof your own stuff. You'll never see the typos. You're much more involved in thinking about the message, which is good. So get somebody, I don't care if it's a brother, aunt, uncle, sister, husband, wife, friend, to read your copy and find those typo police. Find those little typos in there. There's nothing worse than getting a whole brochure printed up. You spent all this time making it look great. You wrote the copy, you sent it to the printer, back it came, and there's a typo right in the middle somewhere. Oh, by doing a little bit of work up front, you can save yourself that agita. Graphics, okay? The sister to good copy is good graphics. Again, keep it simple. Don't get all complicated. In my printing business, I would interview graphic designers, right? I had graphic designers on staff. They'd come in with their portfolio, open it up, excuse me, and there'd be all of this really complicated artwork with boxes and circles and pictures and layers over. I love, keep it simple. Simple colors, simple graphics. Make sure the message comes across more than the artwork and the graphics. It's about what you're trying to say. Make sure you're working within your branding colors and scheme. Remember, don't be changing around your branding colors. Stick with your scheme, stick with your message, okay? And don't overpower what you're trying to say. This is absolutely the #1 mistake that I see all the time. Graphics that I can't read It's white type on a yellow background or yellow type on a white background, or it's just too busy. And this is something that designers tend to do because they're all about how it looks and they want to make it look fancy. So keep an eye on that. Stick with good graphics that are simple. Now let's talk about a database for a minute. I'll be referring to this as I go. If you're going to market your product, you have to have a database, okay? Absolutely essential, right? It's names of people that you're going to market to, right? It can be a simple Excel spreadsheet, and that's fine. That's the first thing I recommend. What is your database going to have? Your name, the name of the company, right? Name of the person, name of the company, the street address in a separate column from the city, the state phone number, and the person's title, okay? It's important to have the street address separate from the city and state because you might want to market to them separately. You might want to do a marketing campaign in a city near you and you want to get rid of everybody else who's in your database. So you need to be able to sort. If you put everything all in one column, you're not going to be able to sort easily, okay? You want to make sure you have their email address. That is the most important one. You might have empty spots for company, street address. You might not have their phone number, but you really need to have their email because it's a great marketing tool. Okay? You can have a final column for comments when you last spoke to them, what got said. You can keep track of when and how you contacted them. You sent them an email, you phoned them, you sent them something in the mail. You can track all of that, okay? And you can keep any other pertinent notes. I love keeping track of things like I might know my client's birthday. I might know the name of their son who loves trucks. Whatever, you can keep track of that right in your database so that when you call up your client or your potential client, you know what you've said last time. So simple Excel spreadsheet works. But you might want a more sophisticated database, right? They live in the cloud, so you can access them anywhere. A couple that my clients like and use is Salesforce. They use Zoho. Salesforce I've used, it's a little more sophisticated, so you really have to pay attention to learning it, but they're great. They have lots of features that Excel spreadsheet won't have. There's software integration, so they can integrate with Outlook, they can integrate with your calendar. You can sort and categorize by all the different fields. You can track your marketing efforts. You can even put your marketing efforts in there. You do an email campaign, you can literally park the email PDF right in there. They can do ticklers for follow-up, right, on your Outlook calendar, whatever. And it depends upon price. Different ones have different stuff. They're all over the board. If you think you need something more sophisticated than Excel, you can look into these. And again, who goes into your database? Everyone, okay? Everyone you meet as you go about your day. You exchange business cards. Those business cards do not go into a bottom drawer. They go into your database. You key them into your database. There are apps, you can scan them, but I don't care how you do it. Everybody gets in your database, okay? And always carry business cards. You never know who you're gonna meet. I used to take business cards to weddings, right? You never know who you're gonna sit next to. And your contact form on your website should not only come to you in an email, but those need to get into your database so you can promote it to these people. Now, let's get into the tools. Tool number one is your website. It might be the most important one, probably. You must have a website to grow your business. People are gonna look at your website. When you tell them about your product, you tell them about their service, they're gonna go to your website to see more about you if they wanna do business with you, especially if it's a more complex interaction, a bigger price, okay? Make sure your home page focuses on your customers' needs. What's in it for them, WIFT, not all about you. Excuse me. I see lots of websites where I get to the home page and there's a big picture of the owner and all about the owner and what the owner's done. That's not your home page. Your home page is benefit driven. Why should you do business with me? Again, not features, but benefits. I'm going to save you time. You're going to do it faster. It's going to cost less money, right? You're going to love yourself, whatever it is. Make sure your benefits are right on your home page, okay? And a simple website needs at least 3 pages and really just 3 pages to start. You can always add on later. I speak with lots of potential clients who get hung up about the website, and they spend lots of time. Oh, this, that, change this, up, down, left, right, blue, red. Perfection is the enemy of sales and marketing, right? You need 3 pages to start out. Your home page, which again is benefit driven, what's in it for your customer. Then about you, that's where you can put your picture, all your great credentials, the wonderful things you've done, talk all about you, that's good. And a contact page, which usually comes to your inbox, your email inbox, but make sure that gets added to your database. Those 3 simple pages get you off and going, okay? Then you'll add more pages as you go, but get those going to start. Now let's talk about social media. This can be a whole class just about social media, and often it is, okay? But I'm just gonna say, pick your spots. You don't have to be everywhere, okay? And there are some good tools that you can use that allow you to post on more than one thing at a time and schedule your post. Hootsuite, Hootsuite is one of them, Hootsuite. And it allows you to do one posting and it'll go to Facebook and Instagram and all the others, okay? But don't worry too much about all of them. Pick your spot. Facebook tends to be a younger audience, older audience. Instagram, a younger audience. TikTok, even younger audience, right? Pick your spot. Don't worry about everything. Social media is all about content, okay? It's all about giving interesting and informational information, okay? You want to make it interesting so people read it. Now, I see lots of pictures of food. And if you're a chef, that's great. But if you're not, I really don't want to know what you had for dinner, okay? Don't really care. But you want to put interesting and useful tips about your business out there, right? So for printing, for instance, did you know that something about paper, different types of inks, how you can save money on printing, right? Recycling of papers, how paper has become really very eco-friendly. Those kind of messages about your product or your service is what you want to get out there. You want to establish yourself as an authority. And links are essential. When you put something out on social media, it should always link somewhere, hopefully to your website. And you can eventually build a page that has more information. That's going to be your blog page. I'm going to talk about blogs quite a bit, right? You want to link to a blog. A blog is a great way to get on social media. Email. This is where your database really comes in strong, right? Don't email too often, but email is very, very useful, right? It's an inexpensive way to get out there, really. It just takes time. You can use a third-party software. I would advise you not to email from your own email address, your Gmail or your .com address or your company address, because when you're sending out a lot of emails to a lot of different people, it is seen as spam and you'll get blocked. You'll get blocked from going into emails, and perhaps even worse, you can get blocked from receiving other people's emails, okay? So don't do it from your own email. You can use a third-party software like Constant Contact. If you're doing less than a few hundred emails to start, it's free. And as you go higher, it gets a little bit more expensive, but it's affordable. MailChimp is another good program to use. The other good thing about these third-party softwares is they give you the ability to unsubscribe, which legally you're supposed to do. You have to give somebody the ability to click unsubscribe, and that's okay. Again, emails like your social media should be informational and drive people to your website. They should link right to someplace on your website. You can occasionally have a special offer, a discount or whatever, but mostly you want to make them informational. Blogs. I love blogs. Blogs, the gift that keeps on giving, right? And I'll explain what I mean by that. But to start, people are like, whoa, a blog. I can't write a blog. Sure you can. They don't have to be long. They can be 3 paragraphs, right? Make them short, make them sweet. I'm all about simple. You can do this simply, right? And then you get to use them. The reason they're the gift that keeps on giving is you write a blog, right? And you can use it on your website. Again, now you can set up your blog page, your 4th page. You post them on social media and they link back. You can put them in your email. Out they go to your database. And don't forget that all of these things should drive people back to your website for more information. or to get their contact info and add them to your database. Okay, blogs have to be informational and interesting, not salesy. That's not a blog. It's also not a good social media post selling. Don't like it. It's also cool to, if you read an article, you're out there reading all about your business and your service and your product, and you see something that you think is interesting, post it in social media, link it back to your website. It's absolutely fine to say, I thought this article was really interesting. Okay, and this is why. Add a little flavor, sentence or two, keep it simple. So it doesn't only have to be what you write, you can rely on other people's articles as well. Direct mail. Okay, direct mail is these days not often used, which is a good thing. The mailboxes are empty. When I open I'd open my mailbox, all this stuff, my gosh. Now I got 2 bills, and that's about it. Direct mail needs a database, right? Back to the ever important database. Direct mail is often overlooked because it can be expensive, but it's very effective if you do it right. You should know the biggest cost in direct mail is going to be postage, right? Everybody thinks it's printing. Nope, it's the postage, much more expensive than the printing. So there are ways to keep this postage down, right? A 4x6 postcard is a much lower cost than a first-class mail or even bulk, right? So lower postage allows you to get out there more. Targeting is very, very efficient in direct mail, unlike social media, where you're just out there, right? In direct mail, you can literally pick the specific people you want to get to. Very, very measurable. That's why you often see special offers, use promo code ABCD. When you do that, you can measure response. How many people buy with that promo code directly back to what you sent out, and you can really measure it, okay? Couple simple things I recommend in direct mail. Postcards, super simple, right? Take artwork off your website or something that you're using on social media, plop it onto a postcard. You could print as few as 50, handwrite the addresses, out they go. Or a letter. I love a letter. You write what I call the great letter. It's stored on your computer. Dear whomever, I am blah. These are the benefits of my business. Bullet, 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 right? And maybe you say something like, I will contact you in a week to see if you're interested or to share more information. And you can have a special offer in there. I'm offering 10% off if you answer in the next whatever. There's lots of different ways to do it, but a letter is such a simple way, and you can personalize it one at a time. You can throw a nifty pen in there, or one of those letter slitters, or whatever, a magnet, something that fits in an envelope. Very, very effective. And you can send them out one at a time. You don't have to do 1,000 of them. You can do 2 a week, 3 a week, and follow up with a phone call. Simple stuff. EDDM, every door direct mail. Okay. Again, I said postage is the most expensive thing in doing mailings. This is a specific program the post office has set up. Okay, and it's a much lower cost way to do direct mail. Saves on postage. So every door direct mail, right? You do some sort of a postcard, flyer, and it goes to the post office. It goes right into the mail person's delivery bag, and they put one in every single door as they're doing their deliveries. Every door gets one. Okay, this is great if you're a local business and you want to do business locally. If you're a restaurant, if you're a pizza parlor, if you're a boutique nail salon, right, and you want to target a specific geographic area near your store. Okay, this is great. The way you do it is you go to your local printer. Actually, you can go to a couple different printers to get different pricing and ask them to explain it to you specifically and to give you pricing. You don't have to do it. You can just go find out about it. And I strongly encourage you, if you are a local business, right, doing business with the people in your area, your community, go talk to a printer about this. It's a great thing. People don't know about it. It can be very cost effective. And again, it's very geographically centered, sorted by zip code. Okay? Every door direct mail. Most people don't even know about it. Public relations, tool number 7. You reach out to your local media, right? Local. You're not going to get on Oprah's show or Good Morning America. You're thinking locally, right? You're thinking smaller to get out there. It's informational and event driven. Again, it's great community builder to get out to PR, get your name out, right? You can contact your local media, such as, right, Tap Into is a local media, online media. If you have an event or you're a new business, you have a grand opening, you have a special product, you reach out to your Tap Into, your local media, or whatever you have in your community, and they will publicize it, okay? The pro is that it's very low cost, and the con is that it's time consuming. You will have to spend time calling the local newspapers to talk to them, and you will have to put together some sort of an article for them to publish. But usually it's free. Public relations on a local level. Tool number 8, this is often the hardest one for people. Telemarketing, also known as cold calling, okay? Very effective, really. In fact, it's one of the ones you should be using. Everybody should be doing calling, okay? Don't go for the sale. You're developing a relationship, okay? You're not gonna call up and sell your service, sell your product right away. You're developing a relationship with people. They should do 80% of the talking. The nice thing about telemarketing cold calling is it's easy to target. You're going right to the person you want to buy your product. You're doing a little research. You're going to Google and looking up the different people. You can go to the post office, the library, and get specific lists for your prospect market, right? They will give them to you. They will be free. So you can either Google people, you can get a list, you can do your own research online and target those individual people. LinkedIn is a great way to find your prospects, right? You can search for them and come up with specific names. Then you can get contact information by doing some online research. Again, you're not selling, you're just getting to know the person, developing a relationship. Okay? You need a little thick skin and you have to persevere because they won't pick up the phone the first time. They're certainly probably not going to call you back. You have to keep at it. But it's a great way to do sales, right? Tool number 9 in the toolbox, advertising. This is an interesting one. It's all about repetition, right? It needs to be noticeable. And that's why you see so many commercials on TV that are like really wacky. There's silly songs, there's geckos, there's ostriches, really? Memorable people like Flo. It's all, they're almost like competing with each other to be silly, okay? Because they want you to remember them. They want to be noticeable. There's no offer in advertising, unlike direct mail. No offer, it's just the message over and over again. And because it's repetitious, it can be very expensive to do. And it's kind of hard to measure. Normally what happens in advertising is you run an ad and you see if there's a little blip in sales. And that's how you know. If you run a bunch of ads and you're not getting any increased sales, chances are it's not working very well. And you can back off of that one. This is an ad that runs all the time here where I am. I see it all along the parkway, okay? This guy's a lawyer. There's no phone number. He doesn't have the website on there. And it's all about repetition. Literally, he's got them all up and down the highway. It's crazy, right? And he's hoping that when you need a lawyer, you're going to Google lawyers. His name is going to come up and you're going to say, oh, wow, Broderick. Yeah. I know this guy. He's good, right? That's what he's betting on. That's all he's doing. No phone number, no contact information, no information about what kind of attorney he is, right? Just pure advertising. Pretty interesting. Tool number 10, trade shows and events. These are great, right? They offer you face-to-face exposure, right? The fee to get in may include some advertising. Ask about it, right? If you're going to get in, hey, how do I get my name out there? Is there a booklet that they're giving out? Can I get my name on your website, right? See if they can give you some cheap advertising. They may be able to give you the list of attendees. Who else is going to be there? But if not, if you're getting a booth or a table, which is often a good thing to do, make sure you have a fishbowl, right? People put their cards in the fishbowl, and what are you going to do with the cards? Oh yeah, they go into your database. And oftentimes people will offer something to put your card in the fishbowl. They'll give something away, whatever it is, maybe a set of headphones or a storage USB drive or something. Put your card, at the end of the day, they pull one out and they give out some sort of a gift. It's all just to get people to put their business cards into the fishbowl, because then they add them to their database. Then you start to market to them, right? You can send them emails. You can send them letters and postcards or other direct mail. You can call them. Then you can really start to market to them, grow that database. So once you figured out who your target market is, right? Figure out what events they may be having. And these days, they're often online, and that's okay, right? You're still getting to see people's names. You're still getting to, sort of interact with people, right? So whatever events or shows your target market is having, you want to be there, okay? And it can be very cost effective. The biggest cost oftentimes is having, pens to give out or plastic bags and having some banners, stuff like that. And it's often good to have an offer with a sense of urgency. Buy my product by next week and you get 10% off, right? Order whatever it is by such and such a date and you give them a discount. People often give free service away. I'll give you a free introductory offer for my service, right? But some kind of offer is helpful to have. Okay, we're getting there. Tool number 11, guerrilla marketing. This one's great. Another one people often haven't heard of. It includes the element of surprise and is unconventional, right? It requires creativity and imagination and can be very cost effective, okay? If you're really imaginative about it and creative about it. Okay? Some examples of guerrilla marketing are viral videos. We all hear about a video that goes viral and just really brings in sales, right? And gives attention to a certain company or product. A flash mob is great, right? There's some event happening and you have all your friends and family show up wearing t-shirts and balloons and singing a song. You know it's going to get attention. And of course, free stuff is always good. You're giving away bags at trade shows. That's why they do it, right? Walk around with your bag. Everybody sees the name of your company. And I have some fun examples of guerrilla marketing. So there's really not a person. Don't worry. There's really not a person underneath that grate. But you can bet everybody who walks by and sees it is going to read whatever is on the knuckles of that person. It's a sticker that got put down on top of a grate in the road. Very creative, isn't it? Another one. This one's a little more complicated and certainly more expensive. In the good old days when we had FedEx Kinkos, they made it look like this whiteout bottle, drawn the lines on the crosswalk. How clever is that, right? Be clever, think outside the box. There's lots of different things that you can do. You can hang signs up. You can hand flyers out. There's lots of ways to be creative and get the word out. And tool number 12 is networking. Again, my favorite. It is definitely cost effective, but you do have to pay for your meal. But again, we all have to eat. Networking is not about the person sitting on your right and the person sitting on your left directly. Okay, it's about the follow-up. People often say to me, oh, I went to this networking lunch and I didn't get any business. That's not how it works. It's about the follow-up. It's about building the relationship and building your database, right? Go to the networking event, get business cards, they go in your database, right? You send out emails, maybe you send them a nice letter, right? It's all about building the database to have people to market to. So get up and get out. It's often talked about working on your business rather than in your business, right? So if you're sitting at your desk all day long, answering emails, talking on the phone, unless you're making telemarketing calls, right? You're working on your business, not in your business. You want to work on your business, so get up and get out, okay? And remember, it's not who you meet, but it's all the people that they know. So I did a lot of work networking, right? And I got very friendly with a business coach. Business coaches don't do a lot of printing. Maybe they do business cards, but they don't do a lot of printing. But we built relationship, got to know each other. We got on a committee together. In fact, we worked our way up to the board, right? And eventually she introduced me to her daughter-in-law. Her daughter-in-law was the office manager for a suite of medical offices, 5 of them. And they bought a lot of printing, right? So build those relationships, get to know people, they'll get to know you. and you never know what's going to come out of it. And get involved. Get on a committee. You get to meet people. That's what you want to do. Meet people and build relationships. Okay. So consider networking as a job, right? Don't hang out with your friends. Find somebody standing by themselves and go over them. They're going to be playing on their phone. That's okay. Compliment something. I used to say something like, ooh, what a nice tie that is, right? And they would say, oh, my son gave it to me for Father's Day. Well, then a whole conversation develops about that. Again, it's not about getting a sale. It's about developing a relationship, right? So you can compliment something, be sincere, of course. Compliment something, it's easy enough. Ask an interesting question. How are you is not an interesting question, right? What was unique in your day today? What was one of your challenges? What worked out well for you? Tend to be what questions, how questions are not as interesting. Okay? Figure out a couple of interesting questions, keep them in your back pocket, and when you go to a networking event, ask people. And when you do, your job is to listen, not to talk, but to listen. That's how you develop a relationship, by listening to other people. Let's talk about the budget for a minute, okay? The budget is more than just, oh, I have to have money to spend. It's about planning, all right? Planning, you want to put aside some dollars, whatever you can afford, even if it's a couple hundred, right? Put aside some dollars and figure out what's the best way to spend them. Otherwise, you're going to do a knee-jerk reaction all the time, and you won't be able to keep within your budget, right? Keep it simple. The budget doesn't have to be complicated. The easiest thing is to go to different vendors and ask people for quotes. Doesn't cost anything. Find out how much something might cost. Find out how much it costs to attend the event, the show. Talk to the printer, see what an EDGM campaign might cost. Just for a moment on P&L, right? If you're running a business, you need to understand a P&L, but here's a simple way to look at it, right? Your first line is your sales projection, okay? It's a profit and loss statement, how much you make or how much you're going to lose. First line, sales. How many units or hours times the price? How much money are you bringing in? First line of your P&L. Then your product cost, also known as COGS. That's known as a variable cost because if you sell 10 of something, your cost is going to be different for those 10 products than if you sell 100. Sell 100 is going to be much higher. Okay, so that's the product cost, your expense. That leaves you your gross profit, right? Then all your other costs come in. Those are fixed and they don't change over time, like payroll, rent, car. We all have to pay for our telephones. Then all the other costs come, and that leaves you your net profit. You need to be able to do this to figure out if your business is making money or losing money. And if it is losing money, and that's okay to start, you need to know how much, okay? Keep an eye on it, and it also helps you figure out how much you can budget for your marketing. Pricing, I like to talk a little bit about pricing. Do not underestimate yourself, right? Especially in the service industry. Don't undersell, right? We all know you get what you pay for, so if you're pricing yourself really, really low, what are your clients going to expect, right? You're going to get cheap, cheap, cheap. Factor in all your costs, all right? You need to take into account the time that you've spent, all the phone calls you've made, the preparation you've done for the meeting, right? And any overhead. You have to pay for all of these things, right? So it's not just the hour of time you spent with the client, it's all the things around it, right? You need to pay for the rent and you need to pay for your phone. You need to pay for these things. They need to get factored into your pricing. People in the sales industry, coaches, often underestimate themselves and underprice themselves. And they figure, oh, well, I want to get the person on board. Well, not always the best strategy. Now, I promised you an easy marketing plan, right? This marketing plan is going to help you keep track of what you're doing. It's going to help you plan ahead and keep track of what's working. You can notate right in the file. It's also going to help you keep historical data. When did I do that last? Did I do that last year? I'm not sure. Oh, it was 2 years ago, right? So you can keep track of exactly what you're doing. It's an easy Excel spreadsheet. It looks like this, right? So down the left-hand side are all your tools in the toolbox. Website, blog, social media, email blast. You're going to keep track of everything, right? Everything I've spoken on the left. Now you have months to think about it, right? If you're in a business that is Valentine's Day heavy, well, you want to schedule some stuff happening in January, don't you? If you're a seasonal business at the holiday times, you want to make sure you're scheduling in November properly and have money for that, right? So this allows you to lay out exactly what you want to do. And again, you don't have to do everything. Pick 2, pick 3, try them out. Okay, you might want to try PR this year, right? You might want to focus. And I just want to say about your website, once you do your website, you're not done. You have to refresh it. You have to put new content on it, change the pictures around a little bit. If you put up a website and it's just static and you don't put any new content on it and you don't put any new pictures on it, right? Or any new information, search engines are going to lower your ranking, right? They're not going to send people there as easily. You need to refresh your website. So plan with your nice marketing plan, maybe quarterly, maybe monthly, depends upon your business. But this will allow you to plan everything out. And there's more tools in the toolbox that I didn't get to today. There's cross-selling. In other words, sell your existing customers some other stuff. If my customer is buying business cards, I want to sell them flyers or posters or banners, right? There's referrals. You need to ask for referrals. Even your customers that love you, right, aren't going to think of referring you if you don't say, hey, please refer me. That's a great email campaign, by the way, or a great letter asking your current customer to refer you. You've got to ask them. Schedule your follow-ups, right? Make sure it gets on your schedule. You're not going to do it. It doesn't get on your schedule. You can look for partners to work with and signage. If you have a storefront with windows, you need to put signage up, right? You need to have an A-frame sign outside your store. You need to put posters in the windows, advertising things. Get some signage going. And that's about it for me. Again, Holly Kaplansky. This was Marketing 101. I hope you've gotten some good ideas out of it. Again, you don't have to do everything, but pick a couple things and focus on it. You'll be getting this presentation. You'll be getting the easy marketing plan by email. Catherine, I want to thank you so much for having me today. I want to thank the Jamestown Regional Entrepreneur Center for hosting this session.